Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Gentlemen,
we're here.
How are we doing?
I am better now. Good Lord. This has been a week. This has been a week, boys. I feel like this week is the week that the pandemic finally caught up to me. It was the year anniversary of having been in lockdown, and I am I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with some pretty serious anxiety all week about work, and just feeling overwhelmed and crippled by it, and I could not shake it. Somehow today I did, and I had some Permane Brothers, which was amazing, and it reinvigorated my soul, and yeah, so real glad to be feeling. Hopefully that stays, because obviously I had a beer at Permane Brothers, and we know how beer can change your perception of life. Maybe beer just makes everything better.
Beer does make everything better.
And the fact that I didn't have
getting out and eating around some people in the public, that's nice.
There weren't even anybody there. It was just me and my family. I just wasn't at my house. That was all. That was the whole difference.
Still, new surrounding.
I did have my second COVID shot too, so I am. I'm still waiting for the immunity build, obviously, but It's pretty likely that I'm not going to die now if I get it. So that's positive. Not dead. Gotta live up with that. But anyway,
so speaking of recent COVID shot news, I have learned that I'm actually not fat enough to get the COVID shot.
You got to work on that.
I'm a smidgen on the skinny side for the shot. Yeah. I actually, had a plan. Maybe I'll just put some keys in my pocket, wear some steel-toe boots that day. I don't know. But
hey, listen, pal. So I sent you the link, right? And
yeah.
So I guess that they were having some registration issues, and they just kind of shut it down. So you may want to check that again.
Oh, okay. Because I will eat some food for a week to get my shot. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Once you get the first one, it's not like they can deny me on the second one if I've lost 10 pounds. I get back in there.
When you get the first one, literally what they do is they're like, I'll see you in 3 weeks. Here you go. Look for an email to tell you what time to be here. And you're like, see you in 3 weeks, peeps.
And for right now, if I'm having 2 shots, then I know it's that good, not that Johnson & Johnson, which is only
Johnson & Johnson is the good too. Let's not be so facetious.
Well, we don't want to spread misinformation, but right. I'm just saying, if I'm given the choice, hit me up with that double shot, please.
You'll take whatever they give you, pal, and you'll be just as happy as.
Only time I've ever questioned them about so what's the name of this vaccine that I'll be getting today? Like, you gotta get a flu shot. You're like, yeah, right here, this one.
Well,
they put it on your card.
Yeah, they tell you.
Mine says Pfizer, and it's good.
So you got the good.
Oh,
I am.
Did you feel the cold goodness just flowing through your veins?
I'm in the premium group here.
I saw a meme that said, if we're going to trust Pfizer to make our dicks hard, I think we can trust them to give us a COVID vaccine. Something along that line. That's, it was really funny, and I probably butchered it, but
I assure you my penis still works too after the second vaccine. So
hey, man, maybe they put some blue stuff in there for you.
Yeah. Huh? No, I don't think they did. It hasn't been like that. Not like walking around like, oh, it's the pleats and the pants.
It's an optical illusion.
No, it's not that.
Gonna go ahead and walk this situation off.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see here, folks.
None of that.
Our audience is never gonna get that. It is way too old of a movie at this point. This was our time.
But our audience is old like us, pal.
That's true.
So
I'm not that old.
We are but we're in the 30 to 49 demographic is where we're heavy at. So
advertisers like us. They don't love us, but they like us.
Shout out to our audience, man. You guys are great, and we appreciate you. And by the way, if you're listening to this, check us out. Head on over to the YouTube, and the old social media, Instagram and Twitter, and give us a like and a follow and a subscribe and a comment, that good stuff. Hey guys, I just cut a video on our Instagram today, talking about AEW fanboys. Yeah,
I'm so honored.
And you didn't put it on Facebook?
Instagram.
Or the YouTubes?
No, I put it on Instagram.
Does anybody watch us on the Instagrams?
We do pretty well over there. We have a lot of followers.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, we have more followers there than we have subscribers on the tube. That's for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, blasphemy.
I'm gonna have to start putting butt out over there on Instagrams.
So,
anyway,
speaking, gentlemen, have we seen this Jim Cornette, Penelope Ford, Kip Sabian, Miro drama going on this week?
Yes.
Listen, I love
this one of the podcast, and I saw some tweeters.
I love when there's drama in pro wrestling, and we get to come in here and talk about that rather than some of the stuff that gets put on TV, which I'm sure we'll probably get to at some point today because that's kind of what we do, So I got my little phone up here. So apparently, Jim Cornette on his drive-through podcast made the comment talking about Miro. He's being allowed to be himself. He's obviously a complete fucking goof. He has no idea how to get over. No idea what got him over for a little while before in the other company. Talking about WWE in case anybody's living under a rock. He does this stupid shit and obviously is enjoying himself doing it. He was paired with a fucking kid that looks like he's in middle school and his slutty girlfriend to have a feud with a guy that sticks his hands in his pockets and another guy that looks like he cuts his hair with a pencil sharpener. So is quoted Jim Cornette. So I mean, that's
pencil sharpener line got me.
As we know, because we come in here and we talk, I feel like every time we talk about drama week to week, Jim Cornette's name's usually attached to it. So he is not afraid to stir the controversy bowl every single week and make sure that he's doing what he can do to stay relevant. I mean, he is the biggest heel in professional wrestling, and he's not even in the business.
He's been the best heel in the business for 40 years now, right?
Yes. He's a heel.
He
hasn't been in a wrestling ring in a decade. Still the best heel in the business.
Not even near one. Well, other than NWA Power. But I don't think
Power. I forgot about Power.
Hey, by the way, shout out to NWA. Got the old TV deal with Fight TV.
Thank God.
Oh, nice.
Maybe he left. I mean, I love Nick Aldis, so I'm like, I'm all in. Like whatever that you can build a brand around Nick Aldis, and it's going to be good. Power was great. And Nick Aldis is great. All that's great. I was like real sad when it just stopped.
Yeah, well, I mean, financials and global pandemics will do that.
It was my favorite wrestling show of the week.
Good on them, because I'm looking forward to them starting back up. I think that's going to happen here in April, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say it's that first weekend of April. Yeah,
so that'll be a lot of fun. I might end up getting the old Fight TV app just so I can partake, because I really was into what they were doing before they got the old shutdown there. But
was fantastic. It was always every week was fantastic.
So Cornette obviously says this on his podcast, and it's going to stir a little bit of controversy. So in front of me, I've got Miro and I've got Penelope Ford, their tweets. I'm sure Tom and Derek, you guys have probably seen the other stuff. I've been a little busy this week, and haven't really had a chance to follow the internet drama that is professional wrestling. But Miro said people like at the Jim Cornette bring not only pro wrestling down, but young women and men get abused and name called for 40 views on YouTube. Miro goes on to say, if you call Penelope a slut again, I'll come like God's wrath on you. You understand? I'll personally drive to your basement. And then Miro goes on to say, answer me, you fucking mark. And then Penelope had also tweeted, I mean, he has multiple times, but he lets people fuck his wife while he watches. So what does he think of her? But she's probably the only person besides himself he feels bad for, because his little dick can't please her after 5 Blue Chews and needs other men to do it for him. So, I mean, to me, that is the burn of the century right there with Miss Penelope Ford.
Derek, go ahed, because I have thoughts. But go ahead, Derek.
No, I really, after our conversation previously, I was going to recommend that you just go ahead, but you know what? It's fine, because then I can just retort, and because I don't think we're going to have the same views on this one. I think, you know what? It's fucking Jim Cornette, and you poke the bear, and this is what you get. He's going to have an opinion on everything. He has to. It's what he does. Even shit that went on in my little state of West Virginia with some deathmatch wrestling whatnots, he had an opinion on that. It's just anywhere he can find a topic to get a little bit of heat here or there, he's going to take advantage of it. And if it's going to be the most tasteless, probably somewhat immature, probably not really so much acceptable in 2021 anymore, that's Jim Cornette, and that's what it's going to be. But, I mean, this is a wrestling podcast. This is a wrestling show on Wednesday nights that gets less than 1 million views every week. Let's just put it all in perspective. I'm not trying to say that AEW show is bad. You guys all know that I love it. But I'm just trying to make sure we're not overlooking the amount of audience that all this is actually reaching. And to say that we're reaching less than 1 million people on primetime television, I have no idea. I don't have it in front of me, the amount of people that listen to Corny's Drive-Thru on a regular basis. I'm not one of them. I don't do it, and I love wrestling. I actually am a follower of the Church of Conrad.
Really? You listen to that crap. Good Lord.
I do too.
Sorry. That guy.
So, I don't think we're really reaching the masses. I don't think this is going to be. This is big in the wrestling community. I didn't see it on NBC News the last time I was watching. I don't think it's a big thing. I think it's some passing heat. Good for them for getting their name out there a little bit. They should have thrown on at the end to check us out at AEW Dynamite Wednesday nights at 8.
That would have been smart. Okay, here's my thought on it. All right, Derek, I like your take. I really do. However, here's my point. Okay, let's go back to what Jim Cornette said, first of all. He talked about how Miro and Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, look, did he call Penelope Ford slutty? He did, absolutely. That's wrong. I don't like that word. I don't tolerate that word in my household. I don't tolerate the word bitch either in my household. Those are words that are off limits in this house. My son's not allowed to use them. My wife's not allowed to use them. My daughter's not allowed to use them. I'm not allowed to use them. Those are not acceptable words in my household. However, as somebody who grew up in the 90s and who very much remembers the last stand of Lita being called a slut and being booed off the stage while having her underpants thrown at her, while remembering all of Stephanie McMahon's career in the ring, including everything that Jericho did to Stephanie McMahon. Let's remember that as well.
Trash hoe.
Yes, exactly. Trash. But yeah. So he called her his slutty girlfriend because of his dislike. And did we have one up on the board?
No, we did not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not going to get one today. It was because Joey Janela, because she was apparently with Joey Janela beforehand. And his dislike of Joey Janela is even greater than my own. That being said, that's why he did it. And, do I agree with it? Is that the word I would have used? No, but from somebody who wrote all of his wrestling and did all of his wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s, back through the 80s, the 70s, whatever, that's just the way. That's a new thing that's not okay. I'm not cool with that. But as are you gonna change Jim Cornette necessarily? Not necessarily. Not really. However, and where he was right though is he called Miro a joke who can't figure out, he's doing what he wants and he has no idea what got him over before, and it sucks. Look, I'm gonna say it right now. Miro, the storyline Miro's in right now is the worst storyline he was ever in, including the one against Bobby Lashley. It's terrible. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know why.
You really think that this is worse than the cuck angle?
Yes, this is worse. This is
what?
This is worse. It makes less sense, and it's less of a story. It's more of just nonsense. At least Bobby Lashley is the WWE champion right now. Is Kip Sabian going to be a WWE champion?
No.
Is Kip Sabian going to be an AEW champion? Is Is Orange Cassidy going to be an AEW champion? A believable AEW? Is Orange Cassidy going to legitimately pin somebody like Kenny Omega?
Yeah,
or
with
Chris
his fucking
Jericho?
hands in his pocket.
Right. Is that going to happen? No. Okay. So he was at least in a program with Bobby Lashley. Was it good? No, it was pretty dumb. It was bad. Look, I'm not saying that was a good program, but this is nothing.
No.
This is super underneath job guys. Like, he was in a program. His last program he was in was with the current WWE champion. He is now in a program with job guys. These are jobbers.
But at least this was a super under the radar comment, under the radar situation. The freaking cuck angle was all over Monday Night Raw from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock every week.
It drew ratings, though.
Yes, it did.
It drew
Are we sure that's really what was drawing the ratings?
It drew, as stupid as I thought it was. It drew ratings.
It was terrible.
It was awful. I don't disagree with you. It was terrible, but it drew ratings every week, which goes to show you what I know. This is not drawing ratings. Clearly, like AEW. They didn't even get a bump from this last pay-per-view. It went down.
Well, it's because it was god awful.
That pay-per-view was terrible. I mean, and they tried to play it off, but I don't believe them. And I know we've had this conversation. This is for later on. I'm going to stick on the subject, but yes, we will talk
back to what I was saying. Back to about Corny. So did Corny go a little bit low with calling Penelope slutty, and is that not okay? Yes, that's not okay. However, what's also not okay is to immediately then retort and be like, oh, well, your dick doesn't work and you let your wife fuck other guys and blah, blah, blah. And like, just try to cuck him right there back. Like, that's taking the lower road. So like Corny went low and they went lower. Right. So it's like, I could have given Penelope some sort of a like sympathy. Like, no, he shouldn't have said that about her, but she went lower. So fuck her then.
So you're of the opinion that they should have taken the high road here and just let Cornette be Cornette.
Yeah.
So they
brush him.
No comment back at all.
If you want to say don't call her a slut ever again, and then brush him off after that, that's fine. And I think that makes you come out smelling like roses. However, when you go lower, then it's like, you know what? You're just as bad. It's like, okay, do you remember? This is a few years ago now. I'm going to make a comparison. There was a point in time called The Fappening where a bunch of celebrities' nudes got leaked from an iCloud hack. And every tabloid, oh my God, I can't believe, they feel so just degenerated and they feel like they've been sexually assaulted, this, that, and the other. And then all of those same news sources, like a month later, somebody, and this wasn't even like a hack, like somebody literally climbed over a fence and took a picture of Justin Bieber while he was in a very private area, like nude sunbathing. And all of those same tabloids that were all like, oh, those poor women, were literally like, haha, Bieber has a small penis. This is that. They're doing the same thing. It's literally the same thing. It's a double standard, and it's ridiculous. Look, you want to come down on Jim Cornette for calling her a slut? That's fine. He was wrong to do that. But you want to come down on, like, you got to then come down on Penelope Ford for being like, okay, well, where you went was also not good either. So maybe fuck the both of you, or maybe you should just both let it go. However, Corny was still right because Miro still sucks. So
Miro has not been used right, and we had this conversation last week
because he sucks.
I totally agree with you that he should have came in. Well, last week you were saying he should have came in and been a monster. He should have been booked as a monster.
He's not. He sucks.
That's what we should have done. You know, I don't know what
we didn't do
now.
that.
Now he's just the goofy best friend, and it's just kind of dumb. But yeah, I don't think that he sucks as the character and everything. I think it has a great potential, or did. I just think.
Well, he shouldn't be allowed to write what he's doing. That's for sure.
Let's just say Tony Khan sucks at booking, or whoever's back
Tony
there.
Khan is the 2020 Booker of the Year, pal.
Yeah, come on, friend of the show.
Right, Meltzer
said,
just
friend
saying.
of the show.
Listen, don't Meltzer me, pal. You're the one that hangs out with him on the weekends.
I got to get with Tony and see what he thinks.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand what the problem is here.
Yeah, no.
So for me, for my liking, you know, I don't agree with Cornette. I think that it's pretty shitty that he would go out there and he would say some shit like this, especially because he's in the middle of some sexual allegations in and of himself. With some men. Yeah, but still, I mean that the whole Joey Ryan thing's over too, but we're still vilifying that guy. So
I mean, he's still a villain. That's why.
But still, where's the difference though? Where does the difference lie? Does it lie because it's Jim Cornette and it's the God Almighty of professional wrestling, the biggest?
Because Corny maybe likes to mix it up with his wife a little bit, and ain't no shame in that. And he's actually, I don't know if you've listened to that podcast, but he's like, yeah, we did that a little bit. It's not, our sex life's not that interesting though, really, as the internet's making it out to be. But I'd say it's worked out pretty well for both of us. And that was all he had to say about it. And you know what? Whatever happens behind closed doors between consenting couples is totally fine with me. I don't give a shit about what he does at his own time with his own wife.
They're grown-ass people.
Yeah, they're grown-ass people. I know there was allegations of they wanted to he said that didn't happen. And I haven't really seen anything since the initial one person who was they wanted sexual favors for good booking. And he's like, no. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. And it's not like he's had the ability to book anything in, 20 years. So.
Well, I heard that he was into shoving tennis rackets up his wife's ass, but that's just what the internet says. I don't know.
I mean, he might have been. He liked a lot.
Hey, if we remember correctly, his mommy gave him those tennis rackets.
That's right. I forgot about that.
You want to talk about
real quick, kind of off topic, but did you guys see that apparently Jason Jordan is a cheater?
Yeah,
his wife came hard on the
she has since tweeted and deleted, so calling that one out. But hey, we're behind schedule here. If Tom's cracking a second beer,
Derek was busy dropping his camera.
It was just like mess here.
Yeah, we had some pre-show issues. Mr. Derek knocked over his setup 17 times.
Corny's still going to have his own podcast, and Miro's still going to be bad on AEW television. So let's move on.
That's true. Yep.
So speaking of bad AEW television, so let's just keep it rolling. This past week, Dynamite, man. How do we feel that Tony Khan and the boys kind of covered up the botch, as it's being called, on the main event from the Exploding Barbed Wire match? Go ahead, Tom.
How do we feel about this week's AEW Dynamite? Because it wasn't just the botch. It was literally the whole show. They clearly were just oh, let's get out in front of this and try to make an excuse. And it was just honestly, they could have not even covered it, just been they should have just had Kenny come out and been haha, tricked you. But they kind of buried him, and that was dumb. But let's talk about that. To me, wasn't even the crux of the show. You know what I mean? That wasn't even the meat of where it was. Dynamite this week was stupid. It was really stupid. So there's one thing I want to talk about, and then there's two things I want to talk about, because
I actually enjoyed Dynamite this week. So
really, I thought it was.
I have a point, but I'm going to let you make yours, and then we'll circle back to me enjoying Dynamite this week.
Okay, the two things I didn't like that had nothing to do with the botch. One, that women's match where they had Maki Ito come out in the middle of that six woman, whatever, 3-on-3 tag match. First of all, that match was hot garbage. That might have been the worst match I've seen on AEW television, and that is saying something.
It was a steamer.
I've watched some dark. There was a point in time where the women's champion was actually choking herself with her own kendo stick because what's her name? Guerrero.
Vicky
Guerrero let go of the kendo stick. But she held it there without anybody else holding the kendo stick until Vicky got her grip back, which was terrible. But the worst part of that, and maybe the best if you're looking for botches, I guess, if it's a botchamania type of thing, was Maka Ito comes out and she's singing her song, da, 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 and I think that's the thing. But then the match starts, but she's like not done singing her song, so she keeps singing her song to no music while there's fighting happening. And at first I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I'm like, this is kind of hilarious. And it was really, really hilarious. And then Sheeta runs up and takes the worst, like she hits her with the mic, but it's like the worst. It's like she hit her with an ice cream cone. It was like, it was worse than that. It was like, I don't know how you could not hit somebody, how you could hit somebody with the mic so bad and actually have been a professional wrestler or have any professional, like it was the worst mic hits I've ever seen in my life. And then the rest of that match was also a train wreck. And it's like, this is your women's champion. This is your women's division. This had all of your women's stars in it. And you just literally buried them all in heaping, flaming garbage. So that happened. And then the next thing that happened, so the Chris Jericho Inner Circle MJF thing. Did we watch this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was I the only one that thought this was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life because they threw a swerve in there that made no sense?
Yeah, it was kind of silly.
I'm on the fence.
So let me lay this out for you and tell me if I'm missing something. So MJF comes out and they're talking about it, and Chris Jericho is like, "Oh, I think we need to add another member." And MJF's like, "Actually, I think we need to lose one." And then Sammy Guevara comes out and is like, "Chris, you got to watch this video, yo." And they put up the video where it's like MJF talking to Santana on Ortiz and Jake Hager, and they're like, "So we're going to turn on Jericho, right?" Yeah, we're talking to him about it. And then MJF's like, "Get him." And that doesn't happen. They all turn on MJF, and then it goes dark, which I hate, okay? I hate that. Like, what's wrong with the light guy? Like, fire the light guy. Stop letting him get, like this is like the fourth time this happened. This has happened in wrestling in like 2 months, okay? This is just fire the light guy. Whoever is in control of the lights.
Jerry, I told you to stop buying that shit from Dollar Tree.
He literally screws up on every wrestling show. So anyway, and then like all of a sudden, Tully, FTR, and Sean Spears are there, and I'm like, what? Why are these guys here? This wasn't teased. It was just an immediate swerve, and then they all beat. Like the beatdown was fine, but had there been some sort of a like anything there, I know that like after the fact, people like dug back through and they're like, "Oh, remember when they were betting months and months ago?"
That was like episode 2.
Crowd? Like why would they not play that up? Why are people having to like invent their own fun ideas as to why this makes sense? Because it didn't make sense. So like don't make me read the story. Like I have this problem with movies where like movies are like, well, this didn't make sense in this movie. And then people are like, well, did you read the novel? And it's like, that's the problem. That's the problem with this whole thing. And it's like, well, no, I shouldn't have to read the novel. I should just be able to turn on a show and understand what's happening without having to have watched 7 months of television and caught tiny nuanced 13 seconds that I probably forgot about because I was drinking. Anyway, so AEW television to me this week was nonsensical, kind of dumb, and I don't know, one of the worst AEW shows I've watched in a long time.
So, first rule about watching movies: if there's a fucking book, you never watch the movie first. It will make no sense, unless it's Game of Thrones. But that was a TV show, so it doesn't count.
Game of Thrones. The last season was terrible.
It was fine.
It wasn't.
It was fine.
Think about it this way: Game of Thrones was so enthralled within our culture of human beings, and then like immediately after it ended, because it was so bad, it was immediately deleted from anything cultural that happened at any moment forward. Nobody has rewatched Game of Thrones because of how poorly it ended. It's like Lost. It's like Lost.
Back on yeah, I've never seen that one. I really think though where they screwed up with this whole thing is literally whenever they added MJF to the Inner Circle. It never ever should have happened. MJF was so strong on his own. And it was a great heel. He was a great talker. Everything. Loved it. I loved the whole persona. It was fantastic. For whatever reason, I don't know why we feel like we had to put him in a faction, but here we are. And I feel like he's suffered since. It's a definite power struggle. It was obvious what was going on, and it was obvious that it was eventually going to come to a head. And you know what? Bless the man, Sammy Guevara. Like, I love that freaking guy. I'm so glad he's back. Like,
he kind of came out. He came out better than anybody else in this did, though. Truth be told,
yes,
yeah, he really did.
I'm so happy that he is back in the Inner Circle, because separately, I really enjoyed the Inner Circle before they, combined. That's the thing, is like, separately, each thing is great. Together, bad, very bad, waste of time. And the last time I checked, so there should be 4 horsemen, but
No,
including Tully, there's 5. I don't understand.
No. Calm. Just stop. Pump your brakes, okay? Because the original 4 horsemen was actually a 5-member faction.
Well, that's stupid. That's because Ric Flair was drunk and couldn't freaking count, probably.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think he was an original member, was he?
So listen.
No. Yeah,
listen.
Tom's saying no.
Okay. Listen.
I don't want to listen, Walt.
Okay.
Fine.
My problem with this is how many fucking factions does AEW have to have?
It's too many now.
What is this, like 7?
It's everybody's in a faction now. We got the Nightmare Family. You got like the Nightmare Family is like fractioned with like the Pure Family or something. There's too many. And then
now you've got
go in and out.
Now you've got Big Money Matt building an empire. With
empire.
And then you've got the new 4 horsemen, which I'm hearing is going to be called the Pinnacle, by the way.
That might be fun.
And then you've got the Inner Circle, you've got the Dark Order. Like, this is out of hand. It's out of hand. I'm good with a couple of factions, stables, whatever you want to call them.
Let's not forget the Elite.
You can't forget the Elite, but
kind of, it's defunct sort of now, but that could always be, we're the Elite again.
But we got to stop. We got to draw the line somewhere. Like, when is too much of a good thing a bad thing? And I think that we've already crossed into that area of bad. It's too much. So let's just slow down there. Something that I did enjoy on Dynamite this week, and I can't wait to have this conversation. So Cody goes out there and he, has a 45-second squash match, and Shivani comes in the ring and tries to interview him, and Pentagon interrupts. Okay. I thought that Pentagon threw that translator, and here's why. Okay. Usually whenever you have somebody that can't speak the language and they communicate through a translator, it's always really drab and boring. And the dude that was like translating for Penta was into even some body language. He was very charismatic. He used some inflection in his voice, and it was almost like he was challenging Cody himself. So put all the bullshit on the back burner that Pentagon, had to have this conversation through a translator. The fact that the translator was able to go out there and he was able to deliver the promo that I felt was a believable promo because of how everything went down. To me, it was kind of almost like an angle that you would want to, keep leaning on, where the translator is almost like a manager, because let's take a look at it. Let's talk about Bobby Heenan. Let's talk about Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect could talk. He didn't need Bobby Heenan, but Bobby Heenan still went out and he talked. He still cut promos and did all this stuff for Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect didn't need any of that, but it added to the character. And I think that this is a situation where this translator is adding to this character that is Pentagon. And quite frankly, I'm looking forward to this Pentagon and Cody match on Dynamite on Wednesday. Derek, I know you think that I'm crazy and I'm full of shit, but you look like you don't have much to say here.
The translator had a great promo.
Okay, I mean, if that's how you want to slice it, that's fine.
Is the translator going to fight Cody later on? I doubt it. I mean, maybe he might jump in there. I think the second part of this that I can't understand it is, obviously I can't confirm this myself, but from what I understand, Pentagon does speak English.
He does. I mean, he spoke English at the end of the thing. But for a lot of people, that English is their second language, they may not be as fluent in it and not be able to get their point across properly. So why not, use a medium to get your point across properly to somebody that speaks the language more fluently than you do? I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem here. I think it was a good segment. And then if you want to talk about Pentagon not being able to speak the language, he said at the end of that, he said, hey, Cody, you want to call yourself the American Nightmare? Well, I'm the Lord of Lucha Libre, and then, he had to go back in and he had to talk about, go back into the translator. But, the things that were said were on point. Like, hey, I'd have damaged your arm even more so that you wouldn't have been able to hold your newborn baby girl. That's a great line.
Oh, man, that
is a good line.
That was good stuff. That cut deep.
You're not going to sit here and tell me that wasn't a good promo because he went through a translator. You can take that and you can shove it right up your fucking ass.
That's fine. That's just.
I think a wall just takes it.
2021. You can't do that.
Right at the end, shove it up your ass, like boom.
Just saying, pal.
All right. Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
You got to get your Pentagon suckage in there. Go on.
So ought we to wrap up AEW and our gripes and
we've already spent a good 40 minutes on the lesser show of this week, I would say.
Aren't you supposed to be the AEW guy? Like, and you're sitting
I gotta call it like I see it. What am I supposed to do?
He's so sour.
To suck it off because it's
so
great.
He's so soured on it. They pooped in his Cheerios.
I told you boys I wasn't in a good mood. I was going to be a little spicy tonight. This daylight savings time's got me pissed.
He walked in like ready to eat some Cheerios, and AEW was just squatting over him, just taking a huge dump.
Like I had my big blue bowl that you guys have seen after we're done for our post talk that I do.
How do you eat so much cereal at once? Good Lord. It's ridiculous. What do you like?
Oh, there's ways.
What do you like? Crush a box and like a what? I'm gonna put a whole box in here.
Damn it! There's a regular sized bowl left for the morning. Son of a bitch.
Somebody put a fucking toy in here. That could have been at least 6 more pieces of mini.
Damn it. Anywho,
hey, so to kind of circle back, let's talk about this real quick here. We had talked earlier on about the pandemic and about COVID. Yesterday, it was reported that Vince McMahon was recently set off by a particular superstar being at an amusement park without a mask.
Good.
This comes after McMahon had previously taken a hard stance on COVID, stripping some high-ranking staff members of their more important duties due to the lack of COVID precaution. McMahon has also directly and indirectly sent messages urging safety and self-awareness. Today, a COVID outbreak has been reported down in NXT, with many superstars said to have tested positive, affecting NXT plans going forward.
That's going to suck.
Well,
this is not good news.
If there's there could be a silver lining to this, fellas. We could possibly get out of the Women's Tag Team Championship being Shotzi and Moon sooner than what we originally expected, which would be fantastic. I mean, I don't wish COVID on anyone, but if we've got to pick somebody, I wouldn't mind seeing them off TV for a while. It looks like a fucking skank-ass tank coming down to the ring every time.
Wow. Easy.
Didn't we just bury Jim Cornette for that?
Can I not use that?
I don't know. It's kind of the same.
It's also an S word, but not the same.
I mean, it does rhyme with tank. I do give you credit for that.
Exactly. See, what was I supposed to do? I had to go with that,
It does.
Listen, I am not a big fan of the NXT Women's Championship.
I hate it.
I'm not a fan of the Women's Tag Team Championships. It's consolation prize. I don't.
It was all right. But
holding back
Dakota
two of the
Kai and
biggest
Raquel
stars,
Gonzalez could have at least
isn't
kept it for a freaking match.
it? You're literally holding back two of the biggest stars right now in like Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler could literally each be challenging the women's champions on both brands.
Not on Raw because Asuka has a concussion and Lord knows when she's going to come back.
All right, they killed Asuka. All right, Asuka. Shayna killed Asuka. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
Shayna's dead.
10 table, or no, that was Lana. Excuse me. I was going to say 10 tables. That'll do it.
What is Asuka like? Asuka got a concussion, but Asuka hasn't really been in a title picture despite holding the title for like 4 months.
You guys missed the boat on that. You should have done something with her a month ago.
Yeah,
then we wouldn't be in this situation.
Before she bumped her noggin, they should have done something. They had shitloads of time.
Yeah.
Look, I watched the episodes. There was time. I know there was time. Time was there.
100%.
I saw the time. I watched it go by, and I went, man, why am I wasting my time?
Lots of time.
So much time.
So speaking of time, let's talk about this COVID exposure down here in NXT. How much time do we think that it's going to take for NXT to get back to normal here? I mean, we're on the road to WrestleMania right now.
It's going to be a couple weeks, easily.
I mean, yeah, you would think automatically it's going to be a couple of weeks, but what's to say that it doesn't run deeper than it's being reported right now? How do we know that this outbreak hasn't been so, far-reaching that NXT may not be the same until after WrestleMania?
Yeah, maybe not, but you know what? They'll learn the lessons because I guarantee you there's going to be signs and there's going to be the locker room leaders back there saying, wear your fucking masks. What is wrong with you people? How long have we been in this pandemic? It's been a year. We all know the answer to that now because we recently hit the anniversary. It's been a year. There's no excuse not to do this. We all know what we're supposed to do. And I have people in my family that don't like to do it, but I do it every day. I suffer every day. I sit at work at my desk for 8 hours a day wearing a mask because I want to go home to my family and be safe. That's it. I mean, I rarely see anybody. I've gotten an opportunity to see you guys like once now lately. Like it's screwed up, But if everybody else is doing their part, and then you got this one jackass that went to Disney World and didn't wear a mask, and here we are. It's so easy to just put a piece of cloth over your face while you're in public.
Like, see if I have one.
And look how much money you've cost, and could have even stunted the careers of some of these young superstars that are coming up.
Right? That's fair assessment.
I mean, I couldn't agree with Derek more on this. Like, this is, for me, has been a thing. I mean, I know you guys have little kids too, and it's like, for me, it's been like, I have old family. I have little kids. I have, I mean, I can't trust my children to be like, oh, we're going to be safe 100%. Look, they're little kids. Like, so I've done everything I can to protect them, to protect myself, to my own. I was talking about my own, like, anxiety and mental health deterioration, like, coming to a head this week at the beginning of this show. And I've done it. Like, I'm not happy with where I am mentally and physically right now, but you know what? I've never caught COVID. I didn't give it to my parents. I didn't give it to any of my elderly aunts and uncles. My children don't have it, and I've got 2 vaccines now. I'm a couple weeks out of being sort of in the clear. And so to me, it's like, especially if you're in, luckily I haven't seen my boss in over a year. Like, I don't have to go into the office. Like, my team's not even in the office. Like, I can sit at my house and do my job. And, my job gets done. But if your job is like literally, I have to punch somebody else, I have to breathe in their face and do athletic things with them. It is your whole responsibility to make sure that you are safe, to make sure that you are not then passing a pandemic level, oh my God, overwhelmingly contagious disease to your family. And to those who you work with. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people who just literally have to go into their job, because that's how they make a living. That's how they pay their bills. And, we live in America. They can't pay us to be home all the time. I mean, not all of us anyway, but, some people just have to be there. And, I know you're one of them. You're one of those people. And, we sit here and it's like, we've all been incredibly safe. Look, I would hang out with you guys every single day of the week if it was humanly possible and we had the opportunity to, but we really haven't at all, because we just have been super safe about it. And, I haven't hung out with any of my friends because of that. And as much as I love every one of them dearly, like family, like I'm here to protect my family, and when somebody doesn't do that, to me, that's the most irresponsible thing you can do, especially like Derek, like you were saying, like, I mean, at this point, it's like you mess up. Like, if I'd have got people sick, I mean, had I killed my 72-year-old aunt, like I would have felt terrible for the rest of my life. But like, imagine if like you kill a bunch of people's aunts and like you also fuck up WrestleMania,
Right?
like why would you be so selfish like that? That to me,
you killed a guy and you ruined our main event, asshole.
Like, yeah, you killed all our aunts and you ruined WrestleMania.
And like, here's the thing about all that too, man. At this point, it's just irresponsible. It's not. It's become second nature.
Yeah.
Like, you don't leave the house without one. Why would you go to a amusement park and not take the precautions that are necessary to protect you and yours? I mean, for crying out loud, during the height of all this at the beginning, like I would get home from work and I would literally get naked in my garage and walk through my house and go get in the shower. Like that's not an exaggeration. That happened, and we're talking in the middle of cold months, doing this. And I did it because it was necessary to protect against my family, protect against this for my family. Ultimately I still ended up with it, but you know what? They didn't. And that's what matters.
Yeah. I mean, you were like, as far as people being responsible, like you had to go to work. You were at huge risk. Unfortunately, somebody didn't take your risk into account. And luckily, thank God, you didn't, we talked to you about it. I was like, did you even lose your taste? No, this coffee's good.
Yeah.
And thankfully, look, I couldn't be happier that you got it and weren't sick. And then you like, it's, that's awesome.
Then I had some superpowers.
You did.
Yeah.
And you came to get couches for me, and it was great. I had already had a little bit of superpower, but you got some. But now we're good. We're all.
And now now I'm gonna get my actual superpowers here on Friday.
It feels real good.
So leading into COVID exposure and being around a bunch of people, there's a lot of reports that Vince McMahon and WWE's trying to put 45,000 people in Raymond James Stadium on Saturday night and Sunday night. Is this a smart move? Are we there yet?
Is it a smart move? Hell no.
Yeah.
Is it a smart move for Vince's pockets and for investors' pockets and for the business and all that? Oh, yeah. And they'll get their money. But guarantee you, Vincent Kennedy McMahon will not be taking any sort of risks health-wise and won't have to be around but maybe 3 people all night or whatever, however he handles business at this point. He's definitely not going to put himself into any sort of, awkward position like that. He's not taking any risk.
I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb, truth be told. I mean, I do think that the outside stuff is better. 45,000 people in Raymond James Stadium. I hope they can separate them out enough. I'm sure there'll be a mask mandate. I mean, we'll see. We'll obviously be watching WrestleMania.
Sure will.
But,
problem is, not to interrupt you, but I'm just like, problem is how you can't enforce that on 45,000 people.
No. And the thing is, too, and let's talk about that because just even this past weekend, past week on Dynamite, they were just showing crowd shots and there was people singing along to Judas that didn't have masks on. Like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah. I like the nod and the ability to move forward and trying to move forward. And everybody will say, "Oh, well, they put 25,000 people in Raymond James for the Super Bowl," but those were 25,000 people that were vaccinated, healthcare workers who wore masks. Yeah. So that marinate.
We'll see how well they pull it off. I'm skeptical. I don't think that it's going to go as well as they hope it goes. I mean, we're still, what are we, 3-4 weeks out of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the potential is that half of those plus may be vaccinated. I don't think it'll be it'll be a Sturgis situation necessarily. Remember Sturgis last year? They decided to have it, and then it cost the whole nation like $4 billion.
Yeah, Jericho performed there.
Yeah, dumbass. At least Jericho's not on this show, right? Honestly, I think it's too early, truthfully. But WrestleMania is the show of shows. I would have really preferred, I think, for SummerSlam to be the big welcome back, people. Get your shot. Show me your card. Come on in. Let's do this.
Well, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, hopefully it works out. I'm a optimist by nature. I'm hoping it works out, and I really hope WrestleMania is good and has a good fan reaction. I know 45,000 is probably 30-ish% of that. It's less than half.
I don't know.
It's 30. It was like 30 or 35. I think they reported.
Yeah, I mean it's not a packed house. So
this thing holds like 120,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, you got to figure with the ring configuration and the ground level seating, they're going to be able to spread people out a little bit more. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. I was considering maybe buying some tickets, but that's just.
I was going to suggest, fellas, if we can all get our vaccines done. Obviously, Tom, you're already done. This could be the cheapest WrestleMania in history.
100%. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, guys. Like we could make it happen. They have 2-night combo deals going for like $90. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I think they were advertising that they're selling in 2 and single sets, though. I don't know that they go into like the 3 and the 4 realm.
I'm gonna have to look at this tomorrow.
So we might have to rotate seats throughout the thing.
You might have to walk and hold me.
Yeah.
This is my dad.
I'll shave.
I'll shave. We've all seen me without a beard. I got this.
Wait, hold you better? Would it be better if he held you? He's a big boy. This is my son.
It was hard to get him away from mama's teat.
Anyway, do that.
So, in more WWE news, One Andrade has requested his release, which has subsequently been denied.
Are they going to release Charlotte too? Like, what? I don't understand this. Like, this is how have they not just complacently put a bunch of belts on Andrade to like make Charlotte happy?
Maybe she's kind of over him. I don't know.
No, there's been a lot of things where she's been talking about pitching ideas with the two of them working together and stuff. And like, listen, I think Andrade is worth an investment, just like I think Aleister Black's worth the investment. I don't, and Derek, I know you disagree with me on the whole Andrade situation.
I don't like Andrade.
I mean, your biggest thing that you're looking at is that he can't speak the language. But do we really need to rewind and talk about Pentagon again? Because I mean, he seemed to do okay.
Andrade does. I think he needs a manager for sure. But
when it comes,
I loved him.
And so, just so everybody doesn't think, like, oh, well, Derek must be the racist guy that hates any sort of like, Mexican heritage wrestlers. Yeah. Well, let's just rewind a little bit to whenever we had Alberto Del Rio, or as I like to lovingly call him, Albert the River, because that's what that translates to. I'm not being a dick.
No, you're not.
Yes.
You speak in Spanish.
I do, slightly. Mm-hmm. But he had, I believe his name is Ricardo, as his personal ring announcer.
See.
It was fucking amazing. I love Alberto Del Rio. Like, there's potential there. Yeah, it was great. There's totally potential there to have someone come out.
So you love
a native language English speaking person that can come out and get over.
Wait.
Definitely happened. But Andrade is not the person.
Wait.
What?
Wait. So you're gonna sit there and you're gonna tell me that you loved the guy that chased his girlfriend into the middle of the street and beat the ever-loving fuck out of her?
I mean, I don't know him on a personal level.
Oh, okay. Good talk. Yeah. Hey, so let's move on. Let's talk about Smackdown this past week. I know that everybody kind of had a little bit to take away from it. How about Edge jumping in the show and getting the Roman Reigns spot?
Fuck him.
God, you're such a like.
Now you just got me mad.
No, man, like you're such a little baby.
Because you make me look like a dick.
Because you are a dick,
fucker. God.
I mean, it's not me and Tom's fault that you're a little douchebag. It's really not.
Look, I've said this beforehand. It's like I gotta fight you with be nice to Derek, and then I gotta be like, Derek, be nice to Walt. Both the ends.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like
SmackDown was the best SmackDown this week.
Yes, that was the best SmackDown I've seen in
okay,
weeks.
well, Derek, since you think it was the best SmackDown in weeks, why don't you tell me about it?
Well, that was a total lie, but I do have notes about it because it was completely terrible. Hold on, let's get there. Let's get there.
Way to be prepared, pal.
First,
it was fine.
Let's have a nice, annoying. Get the thing off. No. We got to have group.
Oh, did we lose Derek? Oh, we lost Derek. Oh, where did he go? Oh, he's back. He's back.
It was fun.
No.
Go ahead, pal. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
All right. So, let's see. We start out with the crappy promo. We're gonna have Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Fastlane. Woohoo.
What?
That'll be good.
I don't like Daniel Bryan. I'm good.
What's wrong with you? How do you not like Daniel Bryan? That's gonna be great.
You don't remember this whole conversation like a couple months ago, Tom? How like he thinks that Daniel Bryan's like the worst thing ever, and he just doesn't understand, and he feels bad for Daniel Bryan, but yet he is Daniel Bryan of the podcast. Like he feels this inherent need to be this just little underdog guy that everybody loves, and everybody thinks he's fucking annoying.
Does everybody love Derek? I don't know. People. They don't like me.
Letters
that they don't like you. I don't understand why they don't like you, Tom. Like you're the nice one. Like
I mean, in person, nice. Never met me in person. I'm not that nice, on the podcast.
So go ahead.
So anyway, we have an 8-man tag after that, which I've actually wrote down. Was good. I had high hopes for this, but overall was not good. I did say it was good, but it was not good. Dominic Mysterio, he would not be a primetime player on Monday Night Raw if his last name was not Mysterio. I'm sorry.
Well, considering he's on Friday nights, of course he's not going to be a primetime player on Monday night.
He wouldn't be a primetime player on Friday nights either.
Listen, pal, the thing right now with Dominic Mysterio is, okay, he's paying his dues. That's what this is right now.
Well, then do it somewhere else.
Can you let me just fucking finish, man?
Dues on
for one time, let me fucking finish a thought. Can you do that? Are you capable of letting me do that without stepping on me?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a piss, and then that way you'll be good.
No, because you're gonna sit there and you're gonna listen to what I have to say. Dominic Mysterio right now is paying his dues. Okay, he got put into a high-profile kickoff matchup at SummerSlam with Seth Rollins, so that he could be positioned as a big deal. Okay, now he goes in SummerSlam, loses to Rollins, but he gets his ass kicked along the way, and everybody loves him for it because he's paying his dues. Now he's out there, he's getting pinned clean every single week because he's paying his dues. He is a top-tier enhancement talent right now. And once they feel that he is ready to be a superstar, they're going to push him all the way to the moon and back again. Because the kid's got some spunk, and I'm into what he's got going on in the ring. But right now, it's all about getting his dick kicked in because that's where he needs to be in the business right now. So to send him and his daddy out there to let them get fucking trounced every single week is by design because this kid's going to fucking know what it feels like to be a piece of shit for the next year and a half until one day everything's going to click and he's going to understand how to cut a promo, and he's going to understand what the in-ring needs to be. And he's going to understand how the business works. And as soon as he does, boom, world championship. Mark my words. It's going to happen. The kid is good looking. He's got solid in-ring work. He's got charisma for days. And he is just genuinely happy to be there. So when the day comes that he's able to put everything together, the rocket ship is going to happen. And unfortunately for him, that rocket ship's not going to happen until Daddy hangs up the tights.
Well, Daddy's got to hang up the mask because they're probably going to put that mask on Dominic.
That'll be a turning point. But unfortunately for Dominic right now, his in-ring work is about as solid as a fucking late
Are you
night
fucking
Jenga
high?
game. No,
You're
I'm
high.
not. Right here. Dominic Mysterio is green as goose shit. It says it right there. Yeah. I wrote it, so it's
He
true.
wrote it down. Well, he was sober when he wrote that down.
Yeah. I hadn't even hit the bottle yet. Hadn't even hit the bottle. You can tell by my handwriting. It's still solid.
Did you write it in cursive?
Almost. I have like a mixed weird thing that I do.
I can tell by your face that my fist can't wait to fucking meet it.
So, pretty sure I caught the you guys have seen that now we're giving out fines for leg slaps on super kicks and whatnot. I guess Vince is not too happy with that. I'm pretty sure I caught where that came from. That was in that same match. Dolph Ziggler with his super kick looked. Yeah, I didn't actually see it happen, but it was freaking loud. It was way louder than it should have been.
Listen,
if that was not the case, and he probably lost some money on that one.
That's going to be one of those things that goes away after a couple of weeks. I mean, come on, Tom. Like,
the slap super kick is great. Like that's what a super kick should sound like. And when
it should.
When you don't slap, like if you're not going to slap him on the super kick, you better actually kick him so that it makes a sound, because otherwise it's not going to be good.
It's not any different than whenever The Rock used to throw his punches. If anybody ever watched The Rock throw his punches, right, it was big and pronounced, and he would always slap his gut, like when he would throw that punch, so that it's not any different than that. It's an enhancement of that. The report that I read was the report that I read was Vince was so pissed off because somebody threw a kick or some shit, and it was so mistimed. The thigh slap was so mistimed that Vince was just like, no more thigh slapping. We keep doing that, I'm going to start fining people. That was the report that I read. Makes sense, because if it looks bad and it doesn't add up and the timing's not there, you're going to look like an asshole.
Oh yeah, if you slap your thigh before your kick has even gone off, you got to hit that. Like that's, I mean, once is fine. I mean, God, I don't know. I feel like they super kick so much. Like once is fine. Like everybody makes mistakes. I can't sit here and be like, I'm perfect. I'm not. I couldn't super kick thigh slap anybody without like fucking it up like every great now and then. But I do think you have to get that rhythm down. And if there's people doing it who aren't hitting the rhythm, maybe it's somebody who used it but didn't like necessarily have the rhythm perfected because they don't use it that often, like a Dolph Ziggler or like a, Jey Uso. I feel like the Usos, particularly when they do it, they're like in unison. It's like, it's very like,
theirs is good.
But it's just a matter of who and where and why. And I think that fines will happen if you screw it up, but if you don't screw it up and it looks good and it sounds good, you probably won't get fined. I feel like that was the take that John Cena used to use on things, where it was like they would be like, John, if you do this, I'm going to fine you if it sucks. And then he would do it and it didn't suck. And they didn't fine him. So it's probably that.
Yeah,
so
it'd be fine.
Without Derek giving us every rundown of every single thing that happened on SmackDown, because I feel like that's a little unnecessary.
Match of the week?
No, I mean, we're going to still talk about SmackDown, but my whole thing is week after week we come in here and we praise SmackDown, and I think that is why there's so much hatred towards this week's show, because week after week we come in here and we mark out over how good SmackDown's produced.
It was all fine this week,
and how well SmackDown tells stories and stuff and such, and it just didn't do that job this week. Am I right, gentlemen? Like, am I hitting the nail on the head here?
Yeah, it was just fine. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. Look, I had a hard week, and to put SmackDown on was like for me to be like, I'm just gonna sit here, not in my office. I'm gonna watch something that I'm gonna enjoy, and I watched the whole thing, and I was like, man, this was not as great. It was fine. I watched the whole thing. It was fine. But like, that's not what I needed this week. And maybe, maybe we're all feeling it a little bit. It's been a year. We've been locked down a year. It's been a pandemic. It's been terrible. We've all felt lost. We've all felt just despair. And it's been, we're finally coming back out of it. And there's like a twist, but God, I feel like this week twisted a knife more than anything else. And it was kind of the crux of like, it was the pinnacle for me anyway, of just like what this last year meant. And not to get too sentimental about a fucking Friday Night Wrestling show, but yeah, it was just not.
Well, you were in your feels all week, pal. So like I'm picking up what you're putting down. I really am.
In my feels. Yeah, no, it wasn't great. It was fine. Like I didn't hate it. I didn't shut it off. I would have shut it off if I hated it, but it just was.
I made it through the whole thing.
Yeah, it just wasn't as strong of a showing as we've become accustomed to on Friday nights.
I was hoping for more. I felt like I needed more. I didn't get it.
So I do have one takeaway that I want to ask you guys about before we do move on from SmackDown, and that was okay. So I'm not the most stylish guy in the world, not fashion forward in any sort of way. Did either of you notice the pants that Reginald and Seth Rollins both wore? Now Reginald, I kind of understand he's fancy, you know.
Listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop you. That shit's over like Rover right now, pal.
It really is.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You both are into this. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm into it. I'm just saying it's not.
Listen, I am too large of a gentleman to wear a suit or pants of any nature that are well tailored at the ankle.
Yeah. But this is the thing. I mean, because Rollins was like a good 6 inches of skin.
Total thing.
And probably wasn't even wearing socks and dress pants.
Stocks.
Like, are you out? Oh my God.
No socks. No socks and loafers.
If I I disagree. If I could pull that off, I would.
Yeah, 100%. I would too.
Really?
100%. I think it's a great look.
If I was built like that, yeah. If I was a specimen,
that suit that Rollins had on, that green plaid, was definitely a shout out to Becky Lynch's dad.
Rollins I was into Rollins this week.
I was too.
I'm glad he's back. And I'm call me a Seth Rollins mark, whatever you want to say, but I'm into what he's putting down, and I hope he goes back to the other show where he can be a main event player. But I'm into him being on SmackDown right now.
You know, the one thing real quick on Rollins, and then I have one more thing, and then we'll get to match of the week. I feel his approach, like, oh, Cesaro disrespected me and I'm the locker room leader and I'm here. It's the same thing, but it's different. And like, I'm having a hard time getting past that. But like, I feel like this time around, Seth is doing a much better job with the Messiah gimmick. I feel like he's like a TV con artist almost. You know what I'm talking about.
I feel like Try 2 is picking up where Try 1 sort of maybe was a little bit short. Although I didn't hate the first try, I felt like it was a little disjointed and everywhere. I mean, that's maybe the fault of Raw for being as long as it is, and he just had more time to around with it. But I feel like this is a little cleaner. So I agree with you.
So Derek,
I just can't get past his fucking pants, so I got nothing.
That's stylish, pal. And I agree with Tom. That's a good look, and if I could pull it off, I would totally rock it. Hey, one more thing, then let's hit match of the week. We're actually doing pretty good on time this week, boys. WrestleMania 37. It's supposed to be Edge versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Why do I feel like Daniel Bryan is going to make this a triple threat match?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yep.
Not only
had that in my mind.
I feel like Daniel Bryan might actually win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think that's I don't know that that's like, you know how WrestleMania is, like it can be scrapped, it can be rewritten the night of and whatever. I feel like that's not necessarily not in the cards.
I just, and maybe it's because like I'm a huge Edge guy. But like, I was really excited for Edge versus Roman mano a mano. I really was. But I don't know. Maybe they feel like Edge doesn't have what it takes to main event with Roman, or maybe they feel like they wouldn't be able to put together a complete match, the two of them, and they need Daniel Bryan to like get in there and create some. Sure that I'm into it yet, because I really, really was looking forward to Edge and Roman Reigns one-on-one.
Well, I think it depends on what they're going to do with time. If they're going to make it If they want it to go 20, 25 minutes, I think they're going to add Daniel Bryan. If they want it to go 15, they probably won't. But I think that's probably what's in the air. Is like, all right, how much time are we going to give this? Because if the answer is no, we need a 25, 30-minute main event, then you got to put Daniel Bryan in there because he takes that main event and literally, even if he doesn't win, he takes that main event, drags it to that 25 minutes, and makes it good for all 25 minutes. And I think the three of them could potentially do that. However, if you want to keep it at 15-ish, maybe they don't need to do it. And I think that's probably what they're talking about. I think there's a potential for either way, and I just think it comes down to time.
Derek?
Yeah, I've honestly been thinking that for a while, and for as much shit that I give Edge, because I know that you love the guy, so I just got to hate on him a bit. But honestly, I was looking forward to that. I was down with some Edge and Roman. I thought it was going to be, something to see. And I really kind of thought that Edge might even have a shot at it. But I do see it as things are progressing now. I definitely think that we're going to get the triple threat in there. It's going to be the same situation that we had with Becky and Ronda Rousey, where this is what we want to see. And then, no, right at the end, we got to get Charlotte in there because we got to, get the belt off of somebody, but we can't let Ronda Rousey look bad and take the L. It'll be the exact same thing.
I mean, Ronda Rousey did end up taking the L, so that
we haven't seen her since.
Well, if you could not have brought that up and let my point slide, then things would have ended a lot better. But instead, this is, I believe, the third time this episode I look like a total jackass. So next time I will take more immaculate notes and destroy your soul.
Hey, well, you know what, bro? If I didn't make you look like an asshole, I wouldn't be doing my fucking job. One closing thing for you guys to think about, and then we'll hit match of the week. We don't even need to discuss it. I'm just going to say it, and we'll hit match of the week. Is WrestleMania 37 Universal Championship going to be a triple threat, or is the WWE just doing a really, really good fucking job of building up Fastlane for the Peacock transition?
Either way, I'm not hating it.
We'll see what happens.
But I am not trying it out on Peacock. Not if I have the network as an option.
True
I'm
story.
not going with that shit show first time around. No way.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. So, always fun drama weeks. I like it. Match of the week.
Okay, mine's easy this week. So it was Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. I liked it. It was just good. They got some time. It was no DQ. I felt like they did good. There was some steps involved. They fought to a referee stop. I liked it. It was good. It went through the first break. It was action packed. I like Sheamus. I like Drew. I think they have good chemistry. It was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I think they're probably going to fight again at Fastlane. I like that too. That's all.
Hey, so one thing I didn't talk about was Bobby Lashley and the rocket ship that got strapped to his back this week. Now that you've watched Raw, Tom, do you agree with what I said in the group chat?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he looks real.
Got a chance to win it at WrestleMania. And you know what I like about that? Do you know what I like about that? Because, listen, I think that Drew definitely 100% deserves his WrestleMania moment in front of fans. But, a lot of things that us as wrestling fans are clamoring for is change within WWE's structure and their ranks. And a lot of people are saying Bobby Lashley's title reign might be boring. But maybe it's the change that we didn't know we needed.
I don't think it's been boring. I think it's been good. I don't disagree. I don't think
saying people are saying that long term it's going to be boring.
I don't think he's going to be a long-term champion, but so far I think it's been good. I don't think that even if he drops it at WrestleMania, I don't think that has anything to feel bad about. Because I feel like he'll still be in the title picture and still 100%. Be. Yeah.
Honestly, I love watching the Hurt Business hold on to all the gold as well. Like that's another thing. Is like if the faction's going to have all the gold, love it.
Yeah, Hurt Business has been great, and Bobby Lashley in Hurt Business has been the best he's ever been. So that's really like for me, that's the total package. Is like the Hurt Business on Raw has been the best thing of the show besides Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who've also been great. Raw's been really good, actually, at least parts of it. It's a long show, but they put on at least an hour of really good every week. And it's usually, Drew in the Hurt Business. So I'm and Sheamus. And so I'm into that. And then, whatever else good they can get in front of my eyeballs. That's so let's do more of that. And let's continue making me happy on Mondays, because Raw was real bad for a long time.
Yes.
It wasn't anybody's particular fault. But it's been a lot better lately. And, there's been some key players, some primetime players, and I feel like they've all gotten rewarded for being the guys. And so, yeah.
It's been good. It's been real good. And I like that Randy Orton in his Twitter beef with Soulja Boy used the pictures of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre's back after that match to kind of call them out, So that's been something to keep your eye on, but we may get into that in the coming weeks because it continues to go crazy. Derek, match of the week, pal.
So, for me, I'm not going to tell you my match of the week. I'm going to tell you the match of the week, boys. It's Io Shirai, Toni Storm, going up for the championship on NXT on Wednesday. This match was not super short, but it wasn't crazy long either. And it was really physical match. So I actually had a different taste about me this week, because normally, I like me some flippy doos and some tope suicidas and all that good stuff. But this week, it was a physical match. There was one or two high spots. Io Shirai hit a huge moonsault off the top rope outside of the ring. The only thing that I was about was the finish was a little lacking. Toni Storm kind of rushed trying to get out of the face lock there at the end, and then she comes off the top rope and tries to give her a headbutt and completely misses, which was part of the plan, but it was just I don't think she would do that, basically. Other than that, though, great match, physical match. There was some heavy chops during the beginning parts of the match, which were just some potato thuds. Not some leg slaps, but some thuds. It was good stuff. And honestly, Io Shirai, greatest entrance music that I've heard in a long time. I love her entrance music. I'd also like to point out that I really do think that WWE/NXT, they really seem to understand how to use the Japanese talent. Like how we were talking about earlier with
Maka Ito.
Help me out here, guys. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I get that Kenny Omega, and I think this is where it comes from, is Kenny Omega lived over in the Japanese culture for so many years and for so long. And he indulged himself in that, and he became part of that. And that's what he's into. And that's fine. That's great. But it doesn't translate the same way when you bring it over here. And we don't know what's going on. And it's just a different vibes, different way people live, different way wrestling is presented. And the WWE really seems to have their finger on the pulse of what it takes to bring someone over from that, the New Japan or the Star or whatever you want to say, and bring them over here. Because we know both Toni Storm and Io Shirai both used to wrestle in the All Women's League over there in Japan. And to bring them over here, see them, put them on the big stage, let them do what they do. It was awesome.
That's a great point there, Derek, and I appreciate you sharing that, because that's just 100% the truth. I think that where we run into with the AEW side of things is that, Kenny Omega is just, like you said, he's so entrenched in the Japanese culture that he forgets that maybe that stuff doesn't necessarily translate into the American piece. So there's
I mean, it's great in a nutshell, but whenever you're trying to market it to not a niche market, I mean, of course, there's a ton of us over here that will sit there and we enjoy watching New Japan, especially whenever I could get it on Access TV more frequently. Like, I would tape that thing all the time. I mean, I don't care that it comes on at 3 a.m. DVR's got that handled for me.
Hell yeah.
But, and I liked their style as far as their after-match little conference things that they would do. I thought that was actually really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
and that's actually like
that.
The presentation that we should have gotten from AEW was that more sports centric.
Yeah.
That we were promised that we didn't get.
We have not got that. They don't even care about the win-loss record. I mean, they make it a point to show it in your little intro thing, but they really it's not a big thing. They're the number one contender. Yeah, well, anybody can be the number one contender.
Well, you know, and the thing that I think that bugs me the most about your match of the week is the fact that I feel like that was our chance to finally get the belt off of EO. You know, and I mean, I'm big into Toni Storm. I mean, I've made that a point to talk about it week in and week out. I wasn't a big fan of the heel turn, but she's since kind of backed off of it a little bit, and she's like, I don't know, kind of playing a tweener a little bit, and it's more natural that she's playing the tweener, you know. And for me, her not winning the championship on Wednesday was a big downer. And it kind of set her back, I think, because to be honest with you, Io's in a point in time, in a position in her career right now where she didn't need that win. You know, she has cemented herself as a top tier talent, and she could have definitely taken that loss. But somebody like Toni Storm that has, you know, come onto the scene and has been solid, and to not have that opportunity to finally get that win, I just think they missed the boat there. But that was a really, really good match. You know, and your points about Japanese presentation in NXT specifically is very, very good. So props to you.
Well, thank
pal.
you, sir.
I'll give you one. So for me, match of the week this week, Wednesday night, AEW Dynamite. I love whenever I say that and you guys look at me like that. I really do.
The roles have been reversed. Who is this man?
I am just the biggest AEW shitbag, and here I am. This is what 2-3 weeks in a row I've taken match of the week off AEW. For me, Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky. At first I wasn't into the match, man. I really wasn't. I was like, this is not good. And then all of a sudden that middle third happened, and those guys were putting it out there. You know, good technical piece, a lot of false finishes, and they were justified false finishes. Good little roll-ups, lots of technical wrestling moves, you know, and then they turned it into that final third and lots of high-flying spots that actually made sense. You know, Scorpio Sky hit Darby Allin with that cutter coming off of the tope suicida that was under the middle rope. So for Tom, that's not really a big tope suicida little area there, but Excalibur called it, pal, just so you know. You know, and the cutter
suicide dive. If you jump through the middle rope, it's a suicide dive.
Well, it was under the middle rope. And
not tope.
It was under tope.
It was underneath and it was a suicide dive.
And then there was the coffin drop that Darby went for, and Scorpio Sky caught him in a sit-out powerbomb. That was a phenomenal spot.
That was cool.
Like, it was timed so well, and like it looked really, really good. I really enjoyed that match, and kudos to Darby Allin and Scorpio Sky for making me a believer this week, because after that I was kind of hooked, man. I was into it, and you know, my whole thing has been recently, and I told you I was going to make a point about AEW Dynamite, and I waited until the end because I knew that this was my match of the week. My whole thing with AEW recently has been this. Eric Bischoff has recently said, hey, you know, who would have thought legacy performers with a mix of young guys drawing money? Who would have thought? You know, he did a similar thing in WCW, and everybody was into it. For me, that's not really what this is about.
No.
For me, I think that sometimes, you know, because we're so invested in and we know that we come in here every week and we talk about it, that we forget that professional wrestling is hokey, and we forget that it's a show. And I think that AEW is doing a really good job of making you forget that it's fake, like, or making you forget that it's not real, that it's real. Like, they're out there and these guys are, I'm misspeaking. Let me rewind. I think that AEW is doing a really good job of making us as the quote unquote smart wrestling's just fun. Like, these guys are out here making fools of themselves, and sometimes in the worst way possible. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of these angles that these guys are doing, it's just, ugh. But I see a lot of the cheese ball kind of stuff that is going into this AEW show. And what's making me remember why I fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. And I can see what the allure and what the draw is amongst all of these people. What I can't get past is the AEW fanboys that go out here and they talk over themselves day in and day out. And if you'd like to know my opinion on AEW fanboys, please hit the Instagram because I dropped a banger of a video today. But yeah, it's the cheesiness of professional wrestling is something that I think that we forget whenever we sit down and we record the show every week.
I don't forget.
And like, I don't know, man. I'm into it, man. They've got me right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Where can they find us, Walt?
They can find us on the old YouTube machine. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you know that we exist. But if you're listening to us, please check us out on YouTube at One Fall WrestleCast. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I am currently trying to convince my wife to do a YouTube video for the channel with me.
Please.
I'm like real close.
Please. Close. I'm into that. Let's do that.
I want to have my wife and I watch 3 classic matches, and I want to get my wife's reaction. So let's stay tuned for that one because I'm going to stay on that.
I would watch that.
I think a lot of people would watch that.
I'm into that.
And then me personally, I got some stuff coming up for WrestleMania that I'm working on. So please check us out on YouTube. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. We got a lot of good stuff coming over there too. I'm working on the Instagram feed, and Derek, he spearheads the old tweeter. So let's keep that going and have a lot of fun there. Yeah. Also, in case you didn't notice, Tom and I are wearing the merch. Good looking t-shirt. Check us out. It's over there, www.teespring.com/stores/1-fall WC. Whole store. We got phone cases, stickers, t-shirts, and a hoodie. So check us out over there. We'll appreciate that. Guys, just keep listening. Keep hanging out. Like and subscribe. Leave us some comments. Talk shit to Tom because Tom loves that.
Tom does. Tom is he's a soft-hearted man that will rip out your soul.
So with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.